Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in your corner of the world. My apologies for last night. I did not have a video released. I was doing a guest appearance on the GXRP Perez show, and you may want to check that video out. We kind of got into a discussion of the recent news articles of basically a gold-backed digital currency, XRP, the next digital gold, etc., etc. So we took their comment and basically went from there and explained what could happen and where it could go if that were to happen. So again, check out GXRP Perez, his channel here on YouTube, and you'll be able to locate that video. I'm not sure if he has it up today. I haven't spoken to him. We finished about 5 a.m. my time, about 7 hours ago, here on Eastern Standard Time. So I'm not sure if he uploaded that video yet or not. I actually haven't even checked this morning. I got right into some articles, did a little research, and was right into making a video. I will make a few today to obviously keep our averages between like the 1 to 5 that we do daily. Obviously guaranteeing like that we'll do one a day on average, and we'll put out multiple to make sure that that stays within that range. Right into this article, we have 1 billion people will engage in blockchain economy within a decade, says the Coinbase CEO, Brian Armstrong. I'm not sure if you saw our previous video on CBDCs. You know, we don't do the bait-click headlines here, the, breaking news or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with those people who do that. The content providers who do. That's their approach. What we tend to do here is very basic headlines, just describing the content that's in it, but the content within it, if you are an investor, is pretty extreme and amazing. And what we do here is we tend to believe that our followers are very intelligent, so that we share content that you instantly know that is what is making the value of your investment. Again, our favorite here is XRP, so that's kind of where we base as we connect others, and we do discuss others here. Or we will discuss Stellar XLM, we will discuss VeChain VET, we will discuss Holochain HOT, and we will discuss PundiX. I believe NXPS or NPXS. I apologize for blanking on that one at the moment. But we do like those, as we did research initially coming in through the Bitcoin, as you probably know as you followed this channel. And then going into, we were 16 wide. We compressed that down to about 6. The 6th one we never discuss. It's the VThor, which is part of the VeChain VET. It is the gas, so to speak, for that. When it was basically, it had no price. It wasn't even priced. It had a value at that time. I believe now that VThor actually has its own pricing. I have seen that. I believe it was on Binance. So that's very exciting, because if you hold VeChain, especially on Binance or in the Nano Ledger, take your pick, SX, X being the Bluetooth, S being the, as we would call the original, the more basic of the model, but many people prefer that one because it is a lot more simple. But if you do have it on the Nano or on Binance that I'm aware, you will get the I don't know if the terminology is called airdrop or the dividend, so to speak, of that VET for holding. If you have it on the Nano, you can almost see it by the second, but typically if you have it on Binance, I believe it's like a monthly drop. I'm not sure if there's a stated percent. To be honest, I didn't really care. It was just we were getting it, and it was exciting. Cool, getting something extra, something free. So, right into this article, the Brian Armstrong, the co-founder and chief executive officer of crypto exchange Coinbase, says the number of people engaged with the blockchain economy will surge exponentially in the coming years. And another one, two favorite here of this channel, just to be clear, since we are discussing Coinbase. We really like Binance, and we do really like Coinbase. And if I'm not mistaken, they're the only two that are connecting back to the FDIC, like the insurance that many people are familiar with in their traditional banking. The 37-year-old billionaire tells Forbes that humanity is destined for a more global, more fair, more free, and a more efficient financial system. And the 50 million people currently engaging with the blockchain-based assets will rise to 1 billion over the next decade. Now imagine if you're having the 50 million target range where we're at today, and that's going to rise to 1 billion over the next decade. We know, specifically speaking of XRP, that it is underpriced, undervalued for what its true value is worth. And as we've had Susie from, I believe it's Australia, from Esoteric Solutions, she has been on the CKJ show, I believe 2 or 3 times now, and gone, and even from last year, said the true value in her background is finance, is banking. Said that it should have been around $334 per XRP as of last year. She's increased the price this year. Off the top of my head, I do not remember, but I'm thinking it was somewhere around $600 or so. You can feel free to go to her channel. Her YouTube channel, I believe, is called Esoteric, Esoteric Solutions on YouTube. I believe that's what it is. You'll be easily able to find it. But between the Coinbase and the Binance, we feel that those are excellent exchanges, and they're probably going to be here for a long time. A lot more safety and a lot more security. But imagine, again, going to 1 billion over the next decade. Now think what that is going to do to your investment. Bitcoin and blockchain technology are still hounded by scaling limitations and face harsh criticisms from the likes of billionaire Warren Buffett and economist Nouriel Roubini. And Armstrong admits there is much room for improvement in the cryptocurrency space. He says there are potential solutions that can address the shortcomings of Bitcoin as a means of exchange for global economy. These include utilizing the King coin primarily as a store of value while creating new digital currencies for speedy transactions. Coinbase is now one of the world's biggest Bitcoin platforms with more than 21 billion USD in assets under custody. Its revenue is projected to top 800 million this year as it rolls out more products, including the world's first Visa network approved crypto debit card, and adds support for a rising number of crypto assets, including the recent addition of the Ethereum-based token Kyber Network, KNC, on the Coinbase Pro. So really, we're not going to go any further from there. We just wanted to get in and share directly from Brian Armstrong, the co-founder and CEO of Coinbase, when he describes we will soon hit over 1 billion currently engaged on the blockchain-based assets within the next decade. Imagine your investment today, whatever you choose, and then 1 billion more people being aware of what you now know today. Was on Twitter earlier, and CKJ posted from CKJ Crypto News had posted a quick video from Yahoo Finance. The headline states, highlight, when we do big things in the United States, it's always a partnership between the private and public sector, former CFTC chairman at Giancarlo MKTS says about getting a digital dollar project done. And again, if you guys have not seen the video that we recently finished on CBDCs, directly connecting them back to XRP, XLM, and Ethereum. After you finish watching this video, you may want to catch that video because it starts all making sense and connecting, and you'll be very excited if you are invested in those projects. Again, it's not financial advice, guys. It's for entertainment purpose only. We're going to go right into this video and let you hear.
Great to be with you, Brian. You know, it's interesting, you began by mentioning the efforts that are underway. When the Chinese do something big, it's driven by the Communist Party, as it is being done with the digital yuan project. When Europeans do something big, it's driven out of the public sector that lays down a certain framework that the private sector can then innovate to. But when we do big things in the United States, whether it's putting a man on the moon or whether it's developing the internet, it's always a partnership between the private and the public sector. And what we're trying to do with the Digital Dollar Project is be that private sector partner with the public sector to develop what a digital US dollar would look like.
So for those that are unfamiliar with what a digital dollar is, right? I mean, you use your credit card, you're not exchanging cash anyway. So what's the difference between those transactions and using paper currency? What is the need for a digital dollar?
So you know, in the analog human world, when you go to the corner drugstore to buy a package of candies, you'll use dollar bills and you'll exchange it and you'll pass a dollar over. The recipient will have a dollar and know they've got a dollar. You're out a dollar, but there's no intermediaries involved. But when you shop online, when you engage in retail commerce in the new digital world, which is online, you can't use fiat currency. You can't exchange $1, $10, $100.
Credit card.
You need a credit card. You need an intermediary to vouch for your identity, for your creditworthiness, for their creditworthiness. And each of those intermediary steps takes a percentage out of the transaction. They also mine your data. They also collect information. When we're talking about a digital dollar, we're talking about in the virtual world to have that same immediacy of payment that we have in the analog human world.
So the Digital Dollar Project, as I understand it, you guys are working with Accenture as well on this. Have you been talking with any private players? Are they happy about the idea of maybe the Federal Reserve issuing their own currency? Would that pose a threat to, say, the PayPals of the world, or the Apple Pay, Google Pays, or Libras even from Facebook of the world?
So a digital dollar is a complete change in architecture of the dollar. It's going to take a lot of thought. There will be a lot of views on this that will have different outcomes depending on what their current value proposition is. But we very much believe a digital fiat would still sit alongside bank payments. There still will be a need for credit card transactions for those who desire to have the 30 days credit, who desire to have purchase price protection. So there is a lot of need for existing infrastructure providers in the system. Banks are still terribly necessary to provide lending functions, the multiplier effect. A digital currency doesn't provide that. We don't view it in exclusion of other means of payment. We view it as in addition. Mm-hmm. So there will still be dollar bills, there will still be coins, there will be still credit cards, there will be still bank functions.
Right. Have you had conversations with the Federal Reserve about this? Lael Brainerd, the governor there, was expressing interest in this, but said that there could be legal obstacles in the way, for example.
Yeah, so there are many conversations. I say when the United States does big things, we often do it in terms of partnerships. The private sector may get out in front of some things, the public sector will come in. There's a very good interplay right now around multiple levels, from the top to different projects that are going on inside the Fed to projects that are going on in the private sector. Universities are involved. So there's a lot of conversations going on throughout the U.S. ecosystem, which is great, and internationally as well.
Right. So I want to broaden out the conversation to cryptocurrencies. First of all, would the digital dollar pose a threat to cryptocurrencies? And colloquially, you've been referred to as Bitcoin dad after you had some testimony down in DC where you said that this is something regulators really need to be thinking about and embracing in some perspectives. What do you think about the regulation of Bitcoin futures, maybe even Ether futures in the future, within the context of maybe the central bank not becoming a competitor per se, but getting on board the cryptocurrency trade as well?
So firstly, the Digital Dollar Project is agnostic to other initiatives, whether they be commercially driven like Libra, or whether they be DeFi like the Bitcoin. In fact, I think as a markets person myself, I think markets are always better when there is a lot of competition out there. A Libra coin based upon a basket of currencies may have its own value proposition. An instrument like Bitcoin might serve to the equivalent of a digital dollar, might be the equivalent of digital gold.
But they could coexist.
But, absolutely. And so the Digital Dollar Project takes no view as to coexistence. In terms of the regulatory environment, I recently joined the advisory board of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and it's put forward a call to action for U.S. regulators to recognize this digital transformation of markets, of finance, and to respond with a national policy. And I think there's a lot of value in considering that. We have 80-year-old, 90-year-old statutes at the CFTC, the Commodities Exchange Act, at the SEC, the Securities Exchange Act, the Securities Act, go back to the 1930s. They were put forward in response to a financial crisis that took place then. And their structures, their core policies are sound. Disclosure, material disclosure, registration. Those all make sense. But how do we reinterpret those in a new digital era? This digital era, the digitization of things of value, is a fundamental change in the way we look at assets, whether they be monetary assets, financial assets, physical assets, and it's going to change things dramatically. And our laws need to evolve with that, as they've done over the 90 years. Now they need to evolve again.
It's been time. All right, well, former CFTC Chair Chris Giancarlo, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Great to be with you.
All right, I think that was a really good video, and it goes right into how central bank digital currencies will take over the world. And again, as we did a video, let's see, yesterday or the day before, you may want to check that out as we get into the central bank digital currencies. And again, you will be very excited as an XRP investor to watch that video. Not to mention the video we did last night with GXRP Perez. Again, check out his channel as well. Thank you to CKJ for the content we're sharing today. Make sure we give him credit for that. As the central bank digital currencies will take over the world, as this article states, the first central banks ignored cryptocurrencies, then they mocked them, next they fought them, and now they're building their own. A few months back, we also shared, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, we shared a lot of the different central banks globally who were making gold-backed CBDCs, or central bank currencies. It's a pretty exciting thing at the research level that we're doing to see what's really going on around the world, not only as an investor, but to me, I'm very excited with the technology as well, having spent a little time in the IT world. It's impressive, it's amazing, and I think the guys are all doing a great job. And I think it's needed, especially after seeing the last video. I've never been one to think, not for a second, that someone was going to do the intent of many of the Bitcoin investing or in Bitcoin mentality, I guess you could say, where they're taking over the banks. That's never going to happen. Just know that. Time has shown, obviously. But working with the banks, giving more options, I mean, that's amazing as a consumer, as a on the retail side of things, much less if you were a business on the wholesale side of things. And a lot of people don't understand, in the financial world, you have a wholesale market and you have a retail market. Same with central bank digital currencies. The CBDCs are a wholesale level, and there will also be the retail level. And again, XRP is focused on the wholesale, enterprise, institutional. Again, you'll hear that, and now that I'm saying it, you know, be consciously aware. You'll hear them say that over and over again. They're going to move the ability to move all value across as a bridge asset. And their focus is also moving into derivatives, which has a value of about 1.2 quadrillion with a Q annual volume. High trillions to low quadrillions. That's pretty significant. And if you think you can move, if you have math, or grab a calculator, if you think you can move a quadrillion, round it down to an even quadrillion, at 27 cents or 17 cents or 30 cents. Run a few numbers. It doesn't make sense. So, as David Schwartz has said many times over, XRP has to have a high value. And learning the focus of XRP being, the focus of Ripple for XRP being a high value to transfer high financial volume, you will understand and begin to understand what your investment is in XRP. It's pretty impressive, it's pretty exciting, and very significant. Back into this, what will it mean for privacy and personal freedoms, and could the backstop to banking become the banking system itself? This is the year of the central bank digital currencies. 12 years on from the launch of Bitcoin, 6 years after the launch of Tether, the first stablecoin backed by USD reserves. And just 8 months since Facebook's announcement of the Libra cryptocurrency project, central banks are suddenly getting set to launch their own forms of digital currency. For now, live pilot projects are still mostly restricted to emerging markets such as the Bahamas, the countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the ECCU, and Cambodia, where central banks are responding to excessive dependence on physical cash that burdens businesses and individuals with high handling costs. We have discussed the Bahamas and the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, again, as I said a few months ago in video, and we've discussed Cambodia using CBDCs directly from the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, directly from the top, Augustine. As he stated, there was much success with the CBDCs and Cambodia as they were currently using them, and it had exceeded their expectations. Announcing the test phase of a digital Eastern Caribbean dollar to run over a private permission blockchain on IBM's Hyperledger Fabric last year, Timothy Antoine, governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, noted that 80% of payments in the ECCU are expedited through cash and checks. When we survey our payments landscape, we cannot help but conclude payments are too slow and too expensive. And again, from that paragraph right there, you have IBM's Hyperledger Fabric, which runs on Stellar, which uses XLM. As you get into this article, it begins to have a greater impact and significance to the credibility of the video that we just released on CBDCs, the deep dive into CBDCs with XLM, XRP, and Ethereum. As we have here discussing in the CBDCs article, stated directly from them, IBM's Hyperledger Fabric last year, and again, that runs on Stellar, which is XLM. This central bank digital currency at the cutting edge, with the governor asking local banks and credit unions to help test it with small businesses, such as supermarkets and garages, in the hope of lowering charges that can amount to 5 to 15% of their operating costs. These expenses came not just in the form of bank fees and cost of securing and transporting cash, but also the manual checking of till receipts against notes and coins. The digital EC currency, the DXDC test project, went live in January. It is not designed to replace physical cash, but certainly aims to reduce its use. The ECCB sees the digital currency as part of a broader modernization of the economy and hopes it will boost its growth trajectory. These emerging market central banks are also addressing financial exclusion. More people have smartphones than have bank accounts in many emerging countries. Another motive for the National Bank of Cambodia, which launched its blockchain-based Bekong system last year from peer-to-peer domestic transfers between certain banks' customers, is dollarization. The Cambodian rial is overshadowed by US dollars circulating in the local economy. The central bank has lost some control both of money supply and monetary policy. In hopes a central bank digital currency may address this, it also aims to improve tax collection as the country progresses to the lower tier of middle income status and loses access to some concessional lending. This is a very long article. That's all I really wanted to get into that because it gives back credibility to the video that we just completed for the deep dive into central bank digital currencies. I don't want to give away too much from that. If you have not seen it, please go and see that now, as it would be very exciting. Let's see, I think give me 1 second. All right, I think what happened here, this was I'm going to close that. That's actually for a different video. Somehow I got opened up into this content. We'll discuss that coming soon. I want to end this video with a thought. Out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope. Remember, when you start becoming successful financially from your investment, do everything that you can to protect that investment so that you're not blowing that, wasting that, and using it like thoughtlessly and aimlessly. And the reason is, if you have financial security and you have financial freedom, you're going to be able to help more people. And most times it isn't so much the amount of money that you can help others, it's the time. If you have true financial freedom, that is going to enable you to have more time to help others, to kind of give back for your success. So at that point, you literally become that stone of hope for others, to help pull them out of their mountain of despair. Again, that is why we discuss here the true freedom in life is your financial freedom. If you do excessively well and you end up in your Lambo and your mansions, that's excellent. Congratulations. We're very happy for everyone. We wish everyone could do that. But not everyone is going to be at that level. So what we would like to see is for those who are invested at whatever your level is, to focus on getting yourself your true freedom. True freedom is time. The time to spend more with yourself on your projects, or with your family if you have a family. Not only are you going to be excited that you're having more time to make more memories, but so is your family. Then moving beyond that, if you have true financial freedom, give back to mankind, give back to the world, give back to others. And it isn't giving back of your money. That is something you're going to want to protect and keep to help yourself and your family. But it's that freedom to help others. And that'll make more sense if it doesn't for you today. Many of you, you will get that instantly. And good luck to you. Congratulations to you. But I just wanted to say, in this world of Lambos and mansions, protect yourself and your income for your investment. Everything that you used to put into this investment was your time invested at your job to create that income to be able to invest. Guard that when your investment returns and you can receive financial freedom. Then you can truly live. Again, guys, this is not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. Much love to all of you. I'm very thankful that you're here with me and continue to support our channel. And that's it, guys. Until the next one.